Hi, I'm Zach, and today we're going to show you how to fix clicking and popping of the knee and also patellar tendonitis. And before we go into it, we're going to show you a testimonial from one of my clients.
So it's been bothering me for about 10 years now. Happened back in high school. Got some, it was a meniscus tear, got some swelling, some clicking, some pain. I retore it last year. Same thing happened, it swelled up again. Started coming here about 2 months ago. When I first came in, I couldn't really run, couldn't jump. It was painful. I had no knee flexibility. So when I first started coming here, this is kind of where I started. Didn't really have the flexibility or range of motion. But after about 2 months now, I can get a little bit further back. But now it's feeling perfectly good. Clicking gone, popping gone, feels awesome.
So literally, when he would bend down or do a lunge, I put my ear right here. All you hear is click, 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 pop, pop, pop. And now, it's been popping for almost 10 years. And now we did, this exercise, and along with fixing his hips, and we're going to talk about that more as we get into this. But now there's no more popping, there's no clicking, and he has no pain. So with this exercise, what we're trying to do is we're trying to put pressure and strengthen, the muscle that runs down from the top of the hip bone, runs down to the top of the kneecap into the patella here. That's your rectus femoris. All the other quad muscles, your VMO, your vastus lateralis, and also your intermedius, the one that lies right underneath the rectus femoris, all those attach, basically inserted at the knee, and then they end up on the femur head. The rectus femoris is the only one that goes right directly from the center of the patella to the top of the hip. So that's going to have the most structural integrity because it's attaching to that anchor point on the hip. So it's really going to pull it taut so that your knee can function correctly. That's what we're trying to do with this exercise here. It's important to keep in mind, you have to build up your hip structure. If your glute medius and minimus are weak and your IT band's pulling down on your knee and then you're trying to do quad exercises, you're going to end up irritating your knee. So you first have to establish the strength of the adductors, the glute medius and minimus, get the hips balanced. Then this is going to be a very effective exercise. So with this, with the leverage point, he's going to put the ankle weight not on the ankle, but on the foot here. Okay, and what you want to do is start off, if you have some weak knees or knee problems, just start off with literally like 2 pounds and you can build to 3, 4, 5, just go very slow. And the goal with this is basically to pass the test is 10 pounds and you can do this exercise. Doesn't sound like much, but this is going to be an important tool to get your knee healthy if it's hurt. So you're going to feel this literally right. If this is the top of your knee here, you're just going to feel this all down the center, basically from here down. You won't feel real high because we're not hip flexing. Okay, this is like a 50-pound band tension here. And I just put it about mid-thigh here, okay? And then he just comes up and down. That's an easy way to do it so you can keep your head down. Okay, you have that option too. So one of the mistakes that you'll make is that this knee is going to come way back here. Go ahead. It's just not going to be the same because we want to get the rectus femoris. So we want to put a little bit of tension onto the hip flexor, and that's why we're keeping it forward. So rectus femoris is a hip flexor. It's also a knee extender. So we're holding it up so we don't have a lot of pressure on the hip flexor, but also you're having to hold the leg up a little bit in hip flexion. So then when we go to do this, this really attacks in to the rectus femoris here. So this is why when you're doing general leg extensions on a machine, it's going to attack more the whole quad. It's not going to isolate the rectus femoris there, okay? Because you're not in hip, you don't have that force in hip flexion to really put pressure on that when you knee extend. So another technique that we can do is we can put a band. Put the ankle weight here, and then the band goes underneath the ankle weight. It keeps it from slipping up his leg, okay? And then we're going to work the bottom portion here. You have a muscle called the articularis, okay? Basically runs from the kneecap to here. Very short muscle. That's where you're going to mainly feel it, is in this kind of short range. Obviously, you're working the rectus femoris too, but there's another way. When someone has been hurt for years in the knee, they're not able to get low. You can't do front squats. So this muscle, that small one, never gets worked. So this is a way to kind of restore it safely with this technique here, and also another way to challenge the rectus femoris here at the bottom range. So it's working both here. And this is great if your knee, how many years does your knee pop for?
About 10 years.
Say it a little louder.
About 10 years.
Okay. And we fixed your hips and we've been doing this, and is there any popping anymore? No popping. So now we're going to do a quick summary on how I fix Anya's hips. And this is much more detailed than what I'm showing you. If you really want to learn how to fix a hip properly, that's why we have an app, okay? And you can purchase the app through my website, or you can also click on the link in the details of the video, and that'll take you right to the app. So with these exercises, it's important to understand is where you want to feel it. So if we're working the glute, we only want to feel it in that side dimple of the glute. We don't want to feel it into the TFL, okay, in the side of the hip here, and we also don't want to feel it like in the front of the hip flexor. So when you're doing the groin exercises, you want to feel the groin working, not the front of the hip. And that's why we have different start points and different levels of these exercises. We're going to go in and show you that now. When Anya first started, we started with this hip opening exercise here. This is not a glute thrust, okay? You're not using your glute max. He's just basically rolling out. You notice he's not going that far, and he's not really thrusting his hips that high, and he's rolling on the outside of his feet. This is just pure adduction, okay? So on the left there, that's where he started out, okay? And if he went wider than that, he started feeling his TFL. So we had to start there, and then as he got better, then we opened the hips up more, okay? And he's able to almost get double shoulder width and really form almost a 90-degree angle with his legs. And that's how we know he's ready for the next progression. And here's the next progression. It's basically an isolated hip opening exercise. You can work one leg at a time. If you try to start out with this and you try to go that high, you're going to get right into TFL. That's why we start with that other exercise and then we progress on to this. Now he had no access at all to his groin, okay? When he would do any type of groin exercise, it'd go right into the front of his hip flexor. So this is why we started out with this ball exercise. Then as you get better, we did the ball exercise and we combined it with this groin heel lead, where you're leading with the heel. This really gets into the magnus, the gracilis, okay? And then this progresses to this drop-off exercise here. And you want to work this up to 5 pounds, and that's how you know you have a really healthy groin, okay, and glute.